Now we queer up out South Florida. Florida Republicans are targeting LGBTQ plus adult entertainment. Again. In this week's OutSFL, I'm raising the red flag and waving it high for everyone to take notice. The Republican-Fascists in Tallahassee are targeting our community once again. HB 1379 would make it a second-degree felony to hire someone under 21 to work in strip clubs. Now, this isn't just dancers. Bartenders, servers, barbacks, other support staff would also need to be 21. The reason sounds noble: protect young people from human trafficking. But it's really just a poorly veiled excuse to stop behavior old white men and 1 million moms don't like. The bill singles out strip clubs as a breeding ground to lure vulnerable people. But these are well-regulated businesses. The fascists may think they're targeting venue owners, but Charles Horton, owner of LeBoy in Fort Lauderdale, told me he'll be fine. It's the young adults he worries over, telling me, quote, "We always have plenty of dancers. What it affects is job choices for 18 to 21-year-olds. The dancers work when they want. They enjoy the atmosphere," end quote. Florida Republicans have made it a habit to tell people, parents, their children, and other adults what they can and cannot do with their bodies. In recent years, they've restricted care for trans kids, restricted care for trans adults, restricted reproductive care for women. They've restricted drag entertainment, enacted Don't Say Gay, banned books for K through 12 students, and banned courses for college students. HB 1379 has already passed one House committee, and I will be keeping an eye on its progress. And this is just another ridiculous attempt by Republicans to target just average citizens.
Yeah.
There is no point to this. Yes, human trafficking is a real problem. So send regulators into the bars.
Yeah, to check IDs.
Check
exactly.
IDs.
Exactly.
Talk to people. Get them alone. Charles allowed me to come into the club. I could talk with dancers. Usually I have to pay them $1 for every 30 seconds, but I got to talk to the dancers. The dance manager, he's like, "Come in, see this. We are an open business." And like the others, Johnson in Fort Lauderdale or in Wilton Manors, they are running good establishments. What hurts is kids who are coming into adult life.
Yeah.
They have very few options sometimes. A lot of people are aging out of foster care. We just talked about Sunshine House that's opening to queer youth in trouble. This is cutting out a great amount of possible jobs for them.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I think, we were third in the country for the number of adult strip venues. That's women and men.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of jobs at stake and a lot of human lives at stake. This is just an excuse by the Republican-Fascists to run roughshod over the population of Florida.
And it is just that. It really is just that. Think about it. At 18, you can go to war. You can buy a gun, right? You can do the most important thing in life, which is to vote. You can, do all these things, but I can't work at a strip club. I know a couple of the dancers that work at LeBoy, right? And, for a lot of us, when we tell our parents we're gay, we get thrown out of the house. Okay, and we don't have a roof over our head, and we have to live in a car. And that is what happened to me at 18 years old. And if a bar on Ocean Drive didn't give me a job as a bartender, I would have still been living in my car for much longer than I was, okay? Some of these dancers at LeBoy are in that predicament as well. Okay, they've been outed out of their homes. They're 18 years old. They don't have a high school diploma. They need to work for their livelihood, right? And you know what's going to happen to some of the boys that I talk to? They're going to go back to sex work. That's what they're going to go back to. Okay, because they don't have another choice.
Which is even like closer to human trafficking. Sex,
yes!
like, literally the whole what we're trying to avoid in terms of when it comes to human trafficking. Well, I think the approach of working towards ending human trafficking and working towards that, it sounds good, but I just think in this situation is just so stupid. I have so many friends being in college, so many our jobs, part-time jobs, is able to work at the clubs just because we're able to, work at those hours after school. So it is really, it just sounds crazy, and it sounds like something that has a overlay, it has an underlay. It's like they're getting at something else, but really saying that it's something. That's what it sounds like to me.
And that's what they always do. Aren't Republicans trying to lower the the working age to 16.
Or lower.
Lower.
Yeah. They'll put kids to work in shoe factories.
Right.
Excellent point.
Sweatshops.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this. But you're targeting, establishment like this one just because you don't like what they're doing there. I mean, it's so hypocritical. While you're basically giving an opportunity to a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old to work anywhere else.
Yeah.
But then kids that potentially could be thrown out of their house, then you can't make a living, so therefore you'll be on the streets. That's cruelty to me. I mean, it's so unjust, and it's like everything they do. So they can trust people to vote, for example, or to drive.
Or to get a gun.
Or to get a gun.
Oh, yeah.
But you can work that's the employer responsibility. I mean, to protect the employee.
Yeah.
And to protect and have laws to protect their staff and protect them against, trafficking. Yes, I'm all for that. But don't use that as an excuse.
Exactly.
To basically, that's not what they're
Right.
doing. They're targeting a business that they don't agree with because of their prejudice. So
It's hard. Living in Florida, living in Miami, it's very expensive. So it's like, even if I wanted to, for people who are 18 or over and they're just working and doing things to fully survive out here and pay their rent, like, the rent is very, very high. Like, people need multiple jobs. So like someone working at a strip club probably has another job, 10 other jobs that they're doing, and they need that money for their nighttime gigs. So it's like, maybe lower the rent, maybe like work in on the economy way so that people wouldn't, have to require those jobs. But I don't think that this approach is like gonna go well over, because there's so many people between 18 and 21 that I know personally that work in these establishments, and
between 18 and 21, kids have not graduated from college. They have not gone to college. Many times they're working to be able to go to college, to afford to go to college. So what are you doing? You're forcing these kids to have, a terrible future because, let's face it. I mean, if their parents just disown them, how are they going to pay for it?
Fascism, just like
Making it
John
harder.
said.